Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about something that affects every single one of us. Every single day. It's this quote from the ancient Stoic philosopher, Seneca. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Think about that for a second. How much of your day is spent worrying about things that haven't happened yet, or replaying things that already have, wishing you'd done something different? If you're like me, it's a lot. We build up these elaborate, catastrophic scenarios in our minds. What if I failed the presentation? What if they don't like me? What if I get stuck in traffic and I'm late? Our brain, in its attempt to protect us, creates these detailed horror movies starring us in the lead role. We feel the anxiety, the shame, the panic, the emotions of the event without the event ever actually happening. We're suffering from a self-produced phantom. It's like paying the price for a mistake you haven't even made yet. And the craziest part, most of the things we worry about never come to pass. Mark Twain famously said something similar. I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened. It's a timeless human struggle. Let's break down why we do this. Our minds are problem-solving machines. They're constantly scanning the horizon for potential threats. This was incredibly useful when the threats were, lions and tigers. But in our modern world, the threats are often social or professional, a tough conversation, a deadline, a new social situation. Our brain treats these potential future events with the same life or death urgency. It runs simulations, trying to prepare for every possible negative outcome. The problem is, our imagination is way more creative and dramatic than reality. In our minds, a small mistake at work doesn't just get a quick correction. It leads to getting fired, becoming unemployable, and ending up on the street. It's a full-blown drama. We experience the emotional roller coaster of this entire imagined catastrophe. The heart pounds, the palms sweat, the stomach churns. Our bodies don't know the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. They just respond to the signals our brain is sending. So, we end up living in a state of chronic, low-grade stress. Not because of what is happening, but because of what could happen. This isn't just about future worries either. It's about the past. How many times have you laid awake at night, cringing at something you said 5 years ago? You replay it over and over, feeling the embarrassment as if it just happened. But here is the thing. You are likely the only person on Earth who still remembers that moment with such clarity. Everyone else has moved on. They have their own cringy moments from 5 years ago to worry about. Yet, here you are, torturing yourself with a ghost. You're suffering in your imagination, pulling a painful memory from the archive and reliving it for no reason. So, how do we break this cycle? How do we stop suffering from these self-inflicted wounds? The Stoics had some powerful, practical advice that is just as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. The first step is awareness. You have to catch yourself in the act. When you feel that familiar knot of anxiety tightening in your stomach, pause. Ask yourself, what am I actually worried about right now? Is this happening in reality, or is it happening in my head? Simply naming it, this is my imagination running wild again, can be incredibly powerful. It creates a space between you and the anxious thought. You are not the thought. You are the one observing the thought. This simple act of mindfulness pulls you out of the movie and puts you back in the director's chair. Once you've identified that you're in an imagination-fueled spiral, the next step is to ground yourself in reality. What is true right now? Not in 5 minutes, not tomorrow, but in this exact moment. Look around you. Name 5 things you can see, the things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. This is a classic grounding technique, and it works because it forces your brain to shift focus from the imagined future or past to the tangible present. The anxiety is about a what if. The present moment is about what is. And most of the time, what is perfectly okay. You're safe. You're breathing. The world isn't ending. Another powerful tool from the Stoics is what's called premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This might sound counterintuitive. Didn't we just say not to imagine bad things? But there's a key difference. Worrying is vague and emotional. What if the presentation goes badly? Is a worry. Premeditation is specific and practical. It asks, okay, let's say the presentation does go badly. What would that actually look like? Maybe my boss will be disappointed. And what would I do then? I would apologize, ask for feedback, and prepare better next time. Could I survive that? Yes. By calmly and rationally walking through a worst-case scenario and planning your response, you strip it of its emotional power. The monster in the closet is scary because you can't see it. Once you turn on the light and see it's just a pile of clothes, it's not so frightening. You realize that even the worst case is often manageable. You have the resources and resilience to handle it. This practice turns vague, terrifying anxiety into a concrete, solvable problem. Let's apply this to a real-life example. Let's say you're anxious about asking for a raise. Your imagination goes into overdrive. My boss will laugh at me. They'll think I'm greedy. They might even fire me for asking. You're suffering immensely, and you haven't even opened your mouth yet. Now, let's use the Stoic toolkit. First, awareness. I'm feeling anxious. This is my imagination creating a catastrophe. Second, ground yourself. Right now, I am sitting at my desk. I am safe. The meeting is next week. I am okay. Third, premeditation. What is the actual worst-case scenario? My boss says. No, that might feel disappointing for a day. What's my plan? I will ask what I need to do to earn a raise in the next cycle. I will continue to do my job well. I will survive a no. And what's the best-case scenario? They say yes. By looking at it rationally, the fear shrinks. The suffering you were experiencing was entirely based on a story, not a reality. This isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending everything is perfect. It's about distinguishing between productive concern and destructive worry. Productive concern leads to action. I'm worried about this exam, so I will create a study schedule. Destructive worry is just a hamster wheel of panic. I'm going to fail. My life will be over, on repeat. The first is useful. The second is pure, imagined suffering. Living in the present moment is a skill. It takes practice, just like learning an instrument or a sport. Your mind will constantly try to pull you into the future or the past. Your job is to gently guide it back to the here and now. Every time you do, you are strengthening that muscle. You're choosing reality over imagination. You're choosing peace over self-inflicted pain. So, the next time you find yourself caught in a storm of anxiety, remember Seneca's words. Ask yourself, am I suffering in reality, or am I suffering in my imagination? Is this threat real, or is it a story I'm telling myself? Take a deep breath. Ground yourself in the present, and remember that you are the director of your own mind, not just a passive audience member for its horror films. You have the power to change the channel. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I hope this gives you a practical tool to bring a little more peace into your daily life. If this resonated with you, please give the video a like and consider subscribing for more content on living a more intentional and mindful life. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. How do you deal with suffering and imagination? Until next time, be well.